Okay guys, now we're going to go on with IELTS speaking module and speaking part 3. Part 1 is what we call introduction. Examiner will ask you some simple questions on familiar topics. Any topic that is related to you. Okay, and you can answer positively, negatively, and then they might change the questions and all that. But don't answer negatively like you give a very blank answer or a very blunt answer. For example, do you have a pet? No. Not like that. Say no, in fact, I don't have any pets because I live in a small house, and on the other hand, my mother is allergic to animals. Therefore, I don't have any pets in my house. Now, after that, examiner is not that type of person. I'll not use any word for examiner that he says, okay, what is your favorite pet? They will change the question altogether, right? They may ask you some questions which are appropriate. The first question of the examiner is important. Do you work or study? Whatever you tell them, then they will ask you questions according to your taste. Like they say, are you vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Say, I'm a non-vegetarian. Then you will find fish, chicken, and all that stuff. But if you say you are a vegetarian, then you'll get only veggies and all that. Okay? So tell the examiner whether you are a student, you are a businessman, or you're doing any job, or you are a housewife. And this housewife is only for ladies. Excuse me, gentlemen. You cannot say, I'm a housewife. All right. Yeah. Okay. The other day I was teaching my online class, and there was a passage in IELTS reading about maternity benefits. And there, you can get some maternity benefits, you get some allowance, some money. And a gentleman after the class sent me a message, sir, ye mujhe maternity benefit kaise mil sakte hain? That's not even possible, okay? Yeah. So, anyways, speaking part 3. Speaking part 3 is called discussion. In part 3, they will ask you the questions which are related to your cue card. In part 2, they will give you cue card. Right? And in part 3, they are going to ask you some follow-up questions, and the number of questions actually that depends on your answers. If your answers are short, examiner might ask you more questions. If your answers are normal, like 5-6 sentences, then there will be 5 to 6 questions normally. And sometimes they do change the topic as well. Don't be afraid. Like my cue card was about favorite restaurant. First, she asked me some questions about food, and then she started with foreign studies and foreign education. Don't worry about it. Sometimes it becomes difficult for the examiner to decide the band score. Yeah, 6 or 7. 7 or 7.5. 7.5 or 8. So then in that case, they ask you further questions. Or sometimes your answers are too short, and then they have to ask you more questions. So if they ask you more questions, don't worry, just answer. Don't tell the examiner, madam, this is not fair. Yeah, don't just say anything about that. Answer every question. Now, there are 3 to 4 category of questions which they ask you, and in part 3, they will check your high level English. Not the simple English. Part 1 is for simple English. Part 2 is for fluency and intermediate level English. Part 3 is for higher level English. In part 3, the first thing is they will ask you to tell the advantages or disadvantages of something. What are the benefits of living in a foreign country? What are the drawbacks of living in a rented house? So the first category is advantages, disadvantages. The phrases you learned in advantages, disadvantages essay, use them here. If she says, what are the benefits? You say, on the positive side, first of all, like that. I mean, tell the examiner, yeah, I know good language and all that stuff. So use appropriate synonyms, variety of words, variety of structures, right? So the first is advantages, disadvantages. The second category is opinion-based questions. In part 3, they will ask you questions. Do you think? Do you believe? What do you think? What is your opinion? So for that, you should know at least 3 to 4 phrases to express your opinion. As far as my opinion is concerned, in my point of view, well, from my perspective, the way I look at this, and then you complete your answer according to the question. So if they ask you 2 questions, It's not good to say in my opinion, in my opinion, repetition. If examiner says opinion, you say according to my viewpoint. As far as I am concerned, the way I look at this situation, I think, use some phrases like this, right? Okay. Now, after this opinion-based questions, the next important category is prediction. They will ask you some questions related to future. And that future can be after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years. So you should know at least 3 to 4 sentence structures for future. For example, what will happen to the transport system of your country after 10 years? I think after 10 years there will be, right? Or the way I look at it, we can estimate, it can be estimated, it can be predicted, right? Or as I can foresee some advancements. Foresee means to see before time. Something that will happen in 2025 and you see that already, you can say, I can foresee a lot of changes in the transport system of my country. First of all, and then talk about it in future. It is expected, it is estimated, and all that. So this is what we call prediction. Next important category where students usually get stuck, that is what we call comparison. They will ask you some comparative questions and examiner is expecting some comparative structures. And normally students don't know comparative structures. What are comparative sentences and comparative structures? You can just note it down, comparative sentences. Watch a video and just learn 2 or 3. That's it. 2 to 3. For example, if we compare city life with village, I think village life has a lot more to offer. In comparison with as far as international study is concerned, if I compare it with local education, right? Or if we look at both sides, I think village life is this and city life is that. So try to learn 3 to 4 good comparative structures and you must learn how to use them. How to use those comparative structures. When examiner will give you 2 things simultaneously, you understand it's a comparative question. So for that, if you use good comparative structure, you will get good bench score, right? So this comparative thing, these are 4 different categories and you need to practice these structures. And in part 3, usually the students, they try to answer immediately. And after 2 to 3 sentences, they say, question kya tha? What was the question? They forget the question. So therefore, it's a good idea to answer the question directly. For example, what are the benefits of living in a foreign country? Repeat it. There are a number of advantages if you go abroad. For foreign country, I said abroad. For benefits, I said number of different advantages. First of all, then you talk about first benefit, secondly, and finally. Another important thing, for speaking part 3, you must use signpost language. What do you have to use? Signpost language. Signpost language is very important. What is signpost language? Very simple. First of all, secondly, finally, moreover, additionally. By this I mean, to conclude. This is what we call signpost language. It's a very good idea to use signpost language. You can use signpost language throughout your IELTS speaking. In part 2 also you can use signpost language. Like when you are describing the last bullet point, you say, and finally, why I like this place very much. There are a number of different reasons. First of all, the location of the place really matters because it is very close to my house. And secondly, the environment, something like that. Okay, so signpost language, good answers in 5-6 sentences, comparative structures, and don't forget compound sentences. Right? In speaking, don't forget compound sentences. They will upgrade your band score like anything. Compound sentences are like rockets. Okay, they will take your band score up to a very high level. And simple sentences will give, whatever you give the examiner will give you that. Juicer machine, yeah, got a juicer. You put the carrots in, you'll get carrot juice. You put something else, you put onion, you'll get onion juice. Now you're putting onion and you're expecting carrot juice. Is that possible? Not at all. Okay, so you have to be careful with all these things. All right, yeah, you can just do it.